Okay, so the first scenario I'd like to cover is reporting locally with the Ewon. So in this scenario, for example, you could be like an OEM deploying a piece of machinery with an Ewon Flexy attached to it for remote access purposes. But if you also had an industrial PC running XLReporter connected through the Ethernet LAN to that Ewon, well, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do using XLReporter's report as you run technology. So in this example, I'm going to create a report that tracks a cycle occurring in the machine, for example, a CIP cycle, and automatically generates a report as the process runs, and then loads that report onto the Ewon's web server as a web page dashboard. So to do that, I'm going to use XLReporter's template library just to quickly use a built-in layout to create that CIP cycle report. In the library, I select under Applications, Batch Cycle. That one allows us to create this batch report using Report as you run with a real-time connector. And the connector I'm going to use is the Ewon OPCUA connector. We'll call this CIP. And then here we're going to pick the tags that we want to collect as data while the CIP cycle is going on. So I'll come in here, open up the live UA browser, and I'll select my 12 tags that I want to include. So let's just say we'll look at these 4 flow meters. And then we'll look at the mixer and pelletizer machines as well. And then we'll say finish. And now XLReporter is asking us to define the schedule for this report. In other words, to define the tag that indicates the ID of the CIP cycle that's being run and the trigger that's going to start it and generate the report. So I will set those by modifying the first action under this report area here. And for the start event, I'm going to select another tag value from the Ewon. This one is going to be trigger report. Pretty self-explanatory name there. And then the value that we're going to capture as the name of the cycle is going to be report name. Tags and then report name. Okay. I'm going to copy out this trigger because we'll use it for the second action, which is going to happen every 10 seconds while the cycle is running. So in other words, while that same tag is still 1, every 10 seconds we'll collect data into the report. So I'll save this, and then I will start the scheduler. Now XLReporter actually is monitoring the Ewon in real time. And now I'll come back over to the Ewon's tag page, and I'll take a look at report name. So let's put in a cycle name there, maybe ABC123, for example. And then we'll set the cycle to 0 to clear things out. And then now I'm going to set it back to 1, and we should see data start getting collected automatically, which you see by these timestamps here in the schedule. So we've established the name of the cycle as ABC123. We've collected a snapshot, and then every 10 seconds, based on this time, we'll collect another one, so you can see that is now incrementing. Now if I go into the Workbook Reports viewer in XLReporter, we can see that I have a report file with today's date. It's got a report sheet in it with the name of the cycle, and it's collecting some snapshot data into that report every 10 seconds. And if you'll notice, the summary formulas down here taking the row totals are actually dynamic. That's part of XLReporter's report as you run engine, where as data gets inserted, workbook features like chart series and formulas will stretch automatically according to the data set, which is useful when you're running something like a CIP cycle, because you don't necessarily know how long it will run and therefore how many rows of data will be collected. Next, we're going to come back and enhance this report by adding a trend chart, and then we're going to automatically upload the report as a web page dashboard that's viewable on the Ewon device itself.